Nigeria Info, the correct time. It's 6 o'clock.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Peace is the path to the prosperity of the nation. Let peace reign. On the news this evening, federal government announces 5 billion naira palliative to each state. Security experts in Rivers State blames government for proliferation of illegal firearms in the country. Stakeholders call for urgent action to mitigate flooding in parts of Rivers State. Political analysts speak on ministerial portfolios. ECOWAS military chiefs express readiness to intervene in Niger, and on the forum saying plane crash in Malaysia kills 10 people. I am Carl Orakwe with the news. Now we begin the news this evening with the report that the federal government has approved a 5 billion naira grant to be given to each of the federation, to be given to each state of the federation for the procurement of grains. The decision was taken during the National Economic Council meeting today. The National Economic Council also announced 5 trucks of rice for each state as palliatives to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal. The NEC also approved the distribution of 40,000 bags of maize to be distributed to states. It also directed the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA) to distribute food items to states sharing the border with Niger Republic over the recent political instability in the country. The CDC chairman of Odao Jonkrama 3 Community Ahodo West Local Government Area, Obariye Osabo, is calling on the government to drench the Orashi River, which he believes will serve as a final solution to the issue of flooding in Ahodo West and other regions. Osabo said this in an interview with our correspondent while recounting the incessant flood in 2018. He also expressed regrets that the promise made by the former Vice President Yemi Osibajo to dredge the Orashi River was not fulfilled.
No matter the amount of water or flooding that comes, is able to contain. It doesn't allow it to spread. But since the river is now so shallow, covered with sands, there are several places that you can walk up. The only thing that has to be done to save the people of Ahoda West, sister local government areas that are in Obaibima, Ndoni local government area, Abua, is to dredge the Orashi River.
Speaking on the devastating state of the Orashi region during her visit, the team lead of an NGO, Follow the Money, Evelyn Williams, called on the government and relevant agencies to take swift action in dredging the Orashi River.
The situation is really devastating. We are calling out on the federal government, NEMA, and all the relevant stakeholders, authorities that are responsible to take action now. We've activated this campaign at Connected Development and Follow the Money, #dredge the Orashi River to stop incessant flooding in the Niger Delta region.
Speaking on the effect of flooding on the Akinima Jagrama Road in Ahodo West, community leader Enyata Abieba says the road has almost been cut off from the rest of the state due to the persistent flooding.
The road has been cut off through this flood erosion. So it is difficult for people to travel from Akinima to JK and visiting in the rest of the state. So also the same people coming back to Akinima. So sometimes some people might even go to Jonkrama or visiting instead of passing through Akinima Junction at Indiama, they will now move up to Bayelsa, to Zarama, go through that area to go to Jonkrama. So it has become a difficult situation. Coupled with the transport hike, some people are suffering daily. Several efforts have been made.
Meanwhile, a professor of geography and environmental management at the University of Port Harcourt, Andrew Obafemi, has called on the state government to provide a holistic and collaborative approach to manage and mitigate flood disaster in the state. Professor Obafemi spoke on Nigeria Info FM's Morning Crossfire today.
essentially, like you said, that there are places where they have marked, or maybe makeshift places they were marked. It's even possible that there are some local governments that may not even have a plan be good enough because of the evil methodology. So there should be a kind of collaborative effort across local governments, by local governments and by states, so that there are places that have been identified as highlands that will be sufficient enough to be able to take a people.
Moving on, the chairman of Ijo Youth Council, IYC Kalabari Sekbange, Asikitams Edwards, said the organization will not tolerate the abandoning of government projects cited in the Kalabari-speaking local government areas. Edwards said as part of the organization's drive in protecting government projects, it has set up an impact assessment and evaluation committee to monitor the progress of ongoing projects in the area. The IYC chairman told correspondent Subi Ruari that their findings showed that the Angoloma Minima Education Project, amongst others, has been abandoned.
Which is saddled with the responsibility to ensure that all contractors in charge of projects in Calabar Island are mobilized adequately to complete such within the stipulated period, and that quality materials are to be used for construction. The Degema General Hospital, Tema Efokos Sangama Internal Road Project, Bukuma Jetty, the left and right wing of the Bukuma Degema Road Project, they are all abandoned. The contractors should fall back to site and ensure these projects are completed within the stipulated time.
Also, the president of the Movement for the Development of Oyigbo Ethnic Nationality, Victor Kute, says the local government is in dire need of hospitals and good road network infrastructure that will help tackle the persistent issues of flooding in the area.
The total road infrastructure deficit within Oyigbo is what we are concerned about, and we are appealing to Rivers State government to please have a holistic approach, development plan for Oyigbo, because the reason why there is flood menace within the urban area and the rural area is because there is no good access road. The roads are so deplorable. So Rivers State government should please visit Oyigbo people with road infrastructure development within the internal street road areas. It's a death trap.
In other news, a security expert, F.A. Wanogo, says lack of clear government policies and uniform enforcement are factors responsible for the proliferation of illegal firearms across the country. Wanogo tells correspondent Emeka Otuka that to curtail the proliferation of illegal arms and address the security challenges plaguing the country, authorities should account for arms in their possession to restrict persons from illegal access to firearms. He also urged authorities at the border to tackle the issue of illegal importation of firearms.
All hands must be on deck in terms of mopping these arms. We cannot be mopping arms today and tomorrow you appear to be turning a blind eye. You cannot be mopping arms from only perceived opponents of government. And what are the category of arms? So the two things are key, because people are emboldened to move forward with such situations when they find that if Mr. A can get away with it, I too can get away with it. So Mr. A cannot get away with a crime and Mr. B is being held for that same crime. Then the government becomes complicit, or the agencies of government becomes complicit. To that extent, the government must step up and to be needful. Our borders must be checked, all the entry and exit points must be checked.
The security expert also blamed the proliferation of illegal firearms on authorities responsible for the issuance of arms licenses.
Because you will see Mr. A possessing some kind of weapon and he even takes that across checkpoint and he will tell you he has a license. But Mr. B is not allowed to carry it. Some vigilantes are allowed to bear arms, but some vigilantes who are fallen out of favor with the local authorities or federal authorities are not allowed to carry arms. So if they must bear arms, what do they need to do to be able to bear arms? Who profiles them? Are the arms in the name of the community or is it in the name of the individual? And then those people who manage security within the country, they cannot continue to let Mr. A and hold Mr. B.
As you may know, there has been an increase in illegal arms possession amongst youths in the state, which has contributed to the rising crime rate in the state. Recall the Rivers State Police Command has warned vigilantes and another local security outfit against bearing arms. But despite the warning, many local security outfits are still seen walking on the street with firearms. A political analyst, Obinna Nwodim, says the portfolio assigned to the former Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike may limit him from making any impact in Rivers State. Dr. Nwodim, who is a lecturer at the Department of Political and Administrative Studies at the University of Port Harcourt, spoke to our correspondent. Dr. Nwodim also expressed surprise at the appointment of the former Governor of State with insecurity as Minister and Minister of State for Defence.
that it needs to look into that ministry again, because insecurity has been a major problem in Nigeria. And then the background of these persons you are appointing into this ministry should have been a major criterion for appointing such persons. You cannot see somebody who has failed authority-wise in his state and appointing him in such a ministry that is in dire need of very competent hands. So I think that was a no one.
On the creation of the Ministry of Blue Economy and Marine Resources, Dr. Mudim said the creation of a new ministry will create lots more overhead costs and expenditure.
I think that it needs to look into that ministry. The blue economy is an economy for the future. But I think that what Nigeria wants now is not a duplication of ministries. Nigerians want ministries to be collapsed so that we can reduce the cost of governance based on the economy or the present economic realities of the time. Now, creating more ministries will increase overhead.
The Chief Judge of Rivers State, Justice Chibuzo Amadi, has stressed the need for training and retraining of judicial staff for efficient and effective justice delivery. Justice Amadi, represented by Justice Tomoyoni Susan Orji at a 2-day workshop for orderlies, drivers and protocol officers of the judiciary staff, said training enhances performance.
Training is never wasted, and training must be continuous. Even we as judges, we go for regular trainings. Our drivers need to be trained. They need refresher courses. You'll discover that in the oil companies, their drivers are trained regularly. There are different rules every day, innovations coming up, even in driving, skill and all. So the drivers need this training. We want to ensure effectiveness. We want to ensure skill. And then we want to ensure beyond everything that in case of crisis, they know what to do.
On her part, the Administrator of Justice Mary Odili Judicial Institute, Justice Anwuri Ken Chinkwere, represented by Loretta Okezie, said the staff will be trained on different safety measures at the workplace. Our correspondent reports that the theme of the training is enhancing the performance of judiciary workers for effective and efficient service delivery. Still to come on the news this evening, ECOWAS military chiefs express readiness to intervene in Niger. Do stay tuned.
Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. Despite the provision in the 2004 revised National Policy on Education mandating the federal government to provide free education for all children with special needs, parents of children with special needs in Rivers State have been left to cater for the children's educational needs. A parent who spoke to our correspondent said she had to withdraw her child from a special needs school because she could no longer afford the child's school fees.
My child, the principal say, "No, take am go another school." Very feeling. But those schools, the money so much. The money dey expensive. to not afford them. And sometimes they feel bad. But maybe government help us provide cheap school. Let's say other states they get schools for special schools for people that no government sponsor. But maybe government help us. Not to keep on for us. I need to come out to make money.
A Port Harcourt Special Needs Coordinator, Stephanie Joelova, reminded the state and federal government of their responsibilities to cater to children with special needs. She also urged the Ministry of Education to provide a proper academic curriculum with proper supervision to ensure strict compliance with laws that were made to protect their rights and interests.
Not just qualified professionals, they need to also employ people who can give strict supervision. You know, for government schools, the teachers can come in, do anything they like because they feel like they are not being properly monitored. But if you bring that also, even if the government sets it up and there's no proper monitoring, we can also achieve zero result when it comes to children who have special needs. So because most times you see that the government has set up the structure, but there are no people to manage these structures, and thereby the structures get dilapidated.
Our correspondent reports that there are over 20 privately owned special needs schools in Port Harcourt that charge between 200,000 to 500,000 naira per child each term. The management of the University of Calabar, UNICAL, has suspended the Dean Faculty of Law, Professor Cyril Indifo, for alleged violation of the provisions of the extant laws and policies of the institution. The suspension, conveyed in a letter by the University Registrar, Mr. Gabriel Egbe, takes effect from today, August 17. The suspension came on the heels of the Dean's response to a query earlier issued to him by the university management. Last Monday, some students carried out a peaceful protest alleging that the Dean of the faculty, Professor Cyril Indifo, was sexually molesting them. Reports say over 15 victims have spoken out and are willing to testify against the suspended dean in court. This is the second time Professor Indifo will be suspended by the university. He was first suspended in 2015 but was later reinstated after the police cleared him. Troops of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, say they are ready to participate in a standby force that will intervene in the Republic of Niger. At a meeting in Ghana's capital Accra today, the defense chief said they were prepared to reinstate the democratic order in Niger. In business news, the Nigerian Navy has impounded a 350,000-litre capacity vessel carrying what is suspected to be illegally refined diesel in Port Harcourt. In a statement, the commander of the maritime component of Operation Delta Safe, Commodore Adedoku Simbade, said the operation happened at Meko Jetty in the Transwoji area of Port Harcourt, Rivers State. In entertainment, a comedian, Christopher Beans, has been sentenced after being found with more than 35,000 indecent images of children. Sporting news, Manchester City's Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne and John Stones, who were part of the treble-winning side last season, have been shortlisted for the annual Professional Players Association Awards. Also included in the star-studded list are two Arsenal stars, Bukayo Saka and 24-year-old team captain Martin Odegaard.
And now we'll bring you news from around the world.
At least 10 people have been killed when a private jet crashed into a car and a motorbike on a highway as it attempted to land in Malaysia. Malaysia's Civil Aviation Authority said 6 passengers and 2 crew were on board the Beechcraft jet. Investigators are trying to find the plane's black box containing its flight data. And that does it here on the news this evening. But before we go, here's a quick look at the earlier stories. Earlier on, we told you the federal government has announced 5 billion naira palliative to each state. Security experts in Rivers State, Efe Wanogo, has blamed the government for the proliferation of illegal firearms in the country. Stakeholders are calling for urgent action to mitigate flooding in parts of Rivers State. We told you political analyst Obina Wodim has reacted to the portfolios assigned to some ministers. ECOWAS military chiefs has expressed their readiness to intervene in Niger Republic, and from the foreign scene you heard, a plane crash in Malaysia has killed 10 people. The news was edited by Onyeka Chinwusu. Rain is expected in Port Harcourt this evening. To reach the news team, call, send an SMS or WhatsApp 0808 721 7215. Do remember, peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. For me, Carl Aragwe, goodbye.